Welcome to Right on the Money, the weekly talk show with interviews you can use to help you maximize your money and optimize your financial future. Before moving forward with any of the ideas discussed on the show, always consult your financial advisor, insurance professional, or tax consultant. Looking for financial help or a second opinion? We can help you in your search. And now, your host of Right on the Money, syndicated financial columnist and money-colored commentator, Steve Savant.
In this segment, we're talking about why family is first in the Hispanic culture, and we're doing it with popular bilingual speaker and financial consultant, Karina Gutierrez. Karina, I think a lot of people would say, hey, family first, but it really depends upon your culture, how you were brought up, and the culture that you're coming to. You see family businesses. There are multiple generations. If you have if you go to the Hispanic section, like in Phoenix, you'll see multiple family, 3 generations in the store, right? It seems like everybody's together. Everybody does holidays together. They do Thanksgiving together. Everything is together. And when it comes down to blood versus somebody else, it's always blood first. Talk about how do you think that developed, and why does that matter in money?
Well, you're totally right, Steve. We like to stay together, stick together. Our families really support each other. How does it affect our finances? Because, for example, the elderly, we will never consider putting them in a long-term care facility, ever.
So never even if they needed, you would take care of your parents, your grandparents.
Yes, even if that will prevent me from preparing for my retirement or for preparing for my kids' education. We will still accommodate the elderly in our homes. We will even modify our home. We will build another room, maybe another room downstairs if they cannot go upstairs, a bench in the shower to make sure that they are properly well taken care of in our home.
Okay, so let's say we were talking about a baby boomer that's in the Hispanic community. There, like you mentioned in just this last segment about the sandwich generation. They have their kids in college. They're trying to help them get through school, so they got some college tuition to pay. They're taking care of mom and dad because they're not going to send them to a long-term care facility. Maybe a little assisted living at home. Hopefully that's okay.
Yes.
But that's a major commitment to live in a lifestyle that provides for generations, and especially the older generation.
It is, and it's so embedded in our culture, and it'll be very hard to change. Even though as a financial consultant, we will come and explain the implications in their long-term savings, they will not change that. They will still provide for the elderly. They will still provide for their children's education. Sometimes I try to explain to them, look, your kids could get a loan, could get financial aid, they could get scholarship. They have all their life to pay for their student loan. You just have a certain number of years to accumulate what you need to accumulate, which is a lot of money for your retirement. And they'll still be reluctant not to pay for their kids' education. It takes a lot of change in mindset in order for them to allow for their kids to get into that.
Well, now, how are they retired? Did they retire? Do they keep working until they can't work any longer?
Exactly.
So they're going to, certain people may work till 66. That's full retirement age for Social Security. But for the maximum Social Security, I see many people, especially baby boomers of all cultural backgrounds, actually working to age 70 to maximize the Social Security benefit every month. So this is kind of a new change. Do you get some resistance? You're bringing up real issues. Is there resistance? Because is that a hard cultural change to make?
It is. It is a very hard culture. It's a very big change for them in their mindset. It'll have to be gradual. They will probably have to ask other family members to help with the elderly, but the elderly still is going to stay at home. And sometimes with time and maybe different sessions and education and showing them the numbers, they might accept that their kids are going to have to provide for their own education, and they're going to have to start putting that money aside for their own retirement.
To me, the Hispanic community is a very sacrificial community. for their family, for their not only their elderly, but for their children. I'm looking at a statistic here. Do you think this is true? I mean, they say the average they would call affluent would be about $75,000 adjusted gross income. Does that sound right to you? I was been looking at certain things in the.
It's about right. It's about right. I mean, we have people that come here, as I said, with a lot of wealth, and they are in a much higher net worth. There we have some other that are more working class, but. Going back a little bit, Steve, with providing for their kids' education, sometimes when I tell them, look, we have to think about them, and you're going to have to make this shift thinking about your children. You cannot be thinking that you're going to be selfish by not providing for your kids' education. You are actually going to be thinking about them, because by preparing yourself, you are going to be financially independent, and you are not going to be a financial burden for your kids in the future. It will be no good, yes, for you to pay all their college education, but then down the road, 10 years down the road into retirement, you're going to say, oops, sorry, my money is gone. Now I'm going to have to live with you. And now your kids are going to have to support an elderly couple for 20 or more years. So,
okay, well, Karina, now you're a first generation in America, right? You have 3 children.
Yes.
You are a Gen Xer. Are you going to obey your counsel here? Now, are you going to take some of your own medicine?
Yes, I'm going to have to.
Okay.
I tell my kids, if my retirement is set, I will pay for your college degree, your master's and your PhD, if you want me to, but only if my retirement is taken care of.
Now, when you say this to somebody else, you're shifting their priorities and changing it. How many people say, I'm not doing it, I love the old school, the old ways, I cannot change, it's too late for me?
When I show them with numbers, and when I show them that it's because of their own family good, they are willing to do it.
So when you're counseling people, they're coming in, these are brand new changes. I mean, fundamental changes. Having a mortgage, major change, by the way. Sifting and saying, you need to really think about paying yourself first for your own retirement before you think about taking care of your kids. I may have long-term care. Would they be open? Do you think your culture is open to buying long-term care policies, or maybe at least assisted home living policies to kind of help pay for some of this?
Not so much.
No.
And because they don't see themselves in a long-term care facility. We just always assume that as we are taking care of our elderly, our kids are going to take care of us. So we don't see as much need of that insurance. And even though if our kids are going to be working, we're still going to be living there at home. And somebody is going to be taking care of us there at home. But we don't anticipate such a large cost versus being in a formal long-term care facility.
Well, I'm looking at the number of Hispanics in the United States. That number could hit somewhere around 22% and I'm talking about 20 years. So that culture is changing in long-term care, because that could change some of the way we talk about long-term care as a country. That could change some of the way we talk about actually long-term debt. I mean, we're already moving, think about this in the United States, I can't believe this is happening, to 40-year mortgages. Because certain people say, I'm not leaving that house. We're used to changing houses all the time. But some people, I know the Asian culture in Japan, they have 100-year mortgages over there because they don't, the house stays in the family.
Yes.
So in your case, you see that when you have your home, will that home be for your children then, or will it be for your retirement, or do they do the same thing, do you think?
Well, back in our home countries, yes. Here in the U.S., it's a little bit different. To this extent, Steve, back in our countries, if we have the means, for example, wealthy families, if they could, they will buy a huge piece of land, they will build houses inside that land, and the whole family will live together. Like they will build their own private neighborhood.
A family compound.
Yes, exactly.
Oh.
Exactly. This is how much we like to stay together and live together. Of course, we will have to have the means. Not everyone can do it. And it's more available in smaller towns, not in big cities, where land is cheaper.
Thank you, Karina, for being in our show. But before I go, remember what the good Reverend John Wesley always says: make all you can, give all you can, save all you can. I'm Steve Savant. We'll see you next week right here on Right on the Money.
For more information on this week's money topics, just go to our website at www.rightonthemoneyshow.com and follow Steve's daily postings on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. When it comes to retirement, money management, small business, insurance coverage, college funding, or budgeting, we have the interviews you can